Hi everybody, it's Wednesday. So here is our Shimelle's, oh I can't talk today, Shimelle's sketch for the week. We are going to turn this sketch all on its side. So my plan is to do one 4x6 photo, do the background the way it is up here, but add some watercolor to the top, add some stitching here, put the photo here, and go from there. So we're gonna turn this sketch all kinds of sideways, but that's okay. That's what makes this series so fun. And it's been a while since I've really reimagined these sketches and really messed with them. So we're messing with this one today. I am also doing one of the challenges issued to me in the Rediscover Your Stash group. This challenge was issued to me by the fabulous Christina Sorge, who is the owner of the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, and she challenged me to use watercoloring, stitching, florals, sequins, and a stamp set that I haven't touched or put ink to yet. So that's what we're gonna do. So here's my photo. It's a family photo. I have 3 sequin mixes. I have 2 stamp sets. I know how I want to use the stamp set, but I'm not sure which one of these is going to work the best for my plans. So I grabbed 2 floral stamp sets, and we're just going to see how we go from there that have not seen ink. And then, so to go along with the sketch for today, Christina, who is at redefinedcreative.com, and I'll leave a link below. She recently received the new Briarwood collection from Rosie Studio, and she had a kit that you could buy that was ridiculously inexpensive. It was $30, and I got my YouTube payout because you guys are all amazing and wonderful. So while most of it went to bills, I did spend a little bit, and I bought myself one of these Briar Rose kits just to give me a little bit of something new to play with. I'm sorry for those of you following me on the spending freeze, spending quarantine. I just needed a little bit of new stuff, and this kit was a fabulous deal. So I went ahead and got one of these, and I'm going to play with it now. So we're going to use Christina's kit, we're going to use Christina's challenge, and our lovely Shimelle sketch, and go from there. And thank you to all of my subscribers, to everyone that's watching this, because you are the reason I was able to buy the Briarwood collection from Christina's shop. So, okay, let's get started and get this layout put together. So I want to try to match this pink that's in these pattern papers. I've grabbed a sheet of my super thick, heavy, hot press watercolor paper, and I think I do pretty good at matching up this pink, but it took a lot. So in an effort to keep this video from being ridiculously long, I'm just going to give you the highlights. So I'm going to take the hot press watercolor paper. I'm going to spray it with a spray of water, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop little bits of this Vicki Boutin watercolor pen into the hot press paper. And I'm just going to let it do its thing. So I have this orangey color because this color I'm trying to match is this orangey pink color. And then I also have a pink there that I think is going to be a little pink. And it turns out to be ridiculous pink. I have to get the these are Vicki Boutin watercolor pens, and I have not played with them in a while, so I kind of had to get them running and get them flowing a little bit. But once I got them flowing, they were flowing. So watch this. I almost didn't leave this in, but it's so funny to watch. Okay, so I put all this watercolor ink down, and then I'm gonna hit it again with this spray bottle. And let me just say that in theory, this would be gorgeous if I had picked the correct color. But that is not the color I want at all. It's way too pink. So if I had wanted a really pink background, this would have been the way to get it. And look how cool that actually looks. That actually looks really cool, I have to say. But it is so not that dusky pink I'm looking for. So I'm gonna play. I'm going to add in some more of the different shades of pinks and corals. I'm going to add lots of water. I'm going to let things move and twist. If you have taken my mixed media background class, then you have seen all of the details of how I would have created this layout. because I just used those techniques in the first lesson of the class where we add layers and layers and layers until we have depth and we have we have the right amount of color and the depth of color that we want. So that's what this is. It's exactly like the first lesson in my mixed media background class, but for time's sake here, I kind of kept it to just the highlights. So I am just going to continue adding lots and lots of layers to this hot press watercolor paper. I'm using a whole roll of paper towels to kind of soak up any extra water, and then taking a look at it and seeing what parts I like and which parts are still too pink and which parts I still need to kind of work on. So this paper has this distressed look to it that I'm really wanting to kind of bring into the layout, and I'm going to do that in kind of an unusual way. So I get all this kind of painting done, I get all my layers of color the way I think I'm going to have it. So after all of those layers are dried, I'm just going to come in with a little bit of Distress Oxide ink in Vintage Photo, and I'm just going over the wee edges, and that's going to give it that distressed kind of brown orangey shade that I'm seeing in the pattern papers that I'm having a hard time kind of getting onto the background. And so now I kind of have this idea of how I'm going to do this background and my fuzzy head, of course. I am looking for my distresser. So I'm going to distress the edges of both of these papers. I've already cut them at a nice angle, which to kind of go with the way that the sketch is. So I'm going to rough up both of these edges, and I'm going to ink them using Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo. And so now I want to do my hand stitching. And so what I've done is I didn't glue the top portion of those strips, and you can see me kind of pulling them up and creasing them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow those creases with a mouse pad and this little Amy Tangerine paper piercer from ages ago, and I'm just putting holes along that crease every little bit. It's allowed to be rustic. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm not going to do a back stitch on this. I'm going to use just a running stitch. So it's gonna look, and I'm also gonna use my 6 strands of embroidery thread. So it's gonna have this like chunky kind of rustic texture to it. It will look a little bit different than what you have seen with other stitching projects where you're doing a back stitch and the stitches are close together and things like that. So off camera, actually it's just that I forgot to hit the button on the camera to turn it on. I went ahead and I stamped and die cut these flowers. I stamped them just in black. I'm going to end up kind of trimming them a little bit because I want them to sit down underneath that pink strip there. You'll see what I mean, right? I think that, yep. I want them to kind of sit down in there. So I'm going to trim them all, and I'm going to tuck them up underneath along that line that I have created. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start kind of actually putting the layout together. So I'm going to map my photos with the leftover pieces from my 2 horizontal strips that I cut. Like I said, if you have any questions about this layout at all, feel free to leave a comment below, either with any of the steps in the mixed media or any of the putting it together. I really did not want to make this video incessantly long. I was worried it would be like 30 or 40 minutes if I kept all I was afraid it would have gotten really long if I had left like everything in it, all the steps, all that mixed media and things. So I just decided that I would keep the highlights in for this particular video. But if something seems unclear to you or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below, because I will be happy to go ahead and type up and give you a little bit more detail on anything. So I am doing a double mat on my photo. I'm doing a smaller mat of that light pink paper and then a darker mat of the small pattern. I'm going to use this big one as the third mat, and then I'm going to go ahead and start cutting into that gingham piece as well. And as I start to go ahead and put these pieces down, you're going to start to see the shades of pink that are in my background. They are going to start to show up in the layout here. If you were a little worried or concerned, it'll all get together in the end and it looks really, really nice. So I'm sorry for my fuzzy head. I was really trying to get these flowers in just the right spot so they just kind of peek out from around my photo. And unfortunately, it required that I get my head right over it. So I'm going to go ahead and put these flowers down, and then I'm going to add some fun foam to the back of my photo and get my photo on the page. So I added foam just to the bottom half of my photo because the top half is going to be kind of popped up, and you can see now how we are going totally off the grid off of this sketch. So I'm just adding enough foam to give it the same lift and the same height as it will be when I place it over those stitch pieces and over the flowers. I have cut a banner in that gingham piece. I've cut a little fishtail. It's going to go kind of off the edge. And then I can start digging into, oh no, one more thing. So I'm just making sure that the height is good. I think I end up putting, one more little piece of foam tape in between. Or this isn't foam tape. It's actually like unfun, just annoying foam. So I'm just going to tuck that underneath. And then give it a good press, make sure it's nice and level. It doesn't look weird or wonky where my photo is. And then I can pull out all, oh no, I still have one more piece. I keep saying this. I think it's time to pull out embellishments because I want it to be time to pull out the embellishments and it's just not. Okay, I'm going to add this gingham. So I'm going to do 2-inch strip of gingham. I'm going to rough it up good with my Making Memories Distresser. And I'm going to place it across the top of the layout. And then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of trim it up. I put this down using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive because we are on a lot of layers of mixed media. I'm going to trim off the edges and trim off the back, and then I can start embellishing. So I am very sorry this layout went up a little later than usual. I usually have my videos up on my channel. I have a good schedule going, like Monday and Fridays at 7 o'clock, and then a few thrown in if I need to do them for design teams or hops. But this is going to go up late today because I was able to get my family tickets for us to go to the Pittsburgh Zoo. They were doing like a Zoofari thing where you could drive through the zoo. It was fun. It was different. Of course, it's like social distancing and things like that, but they brought a lot of the animals out so that the animals were really close to the cars and you could get good pictures and things like that. So it was a nice trip, and it was not expensive at all. Like, it was very inexpensive compared to what the normal admission price for the zoo is. So we went ahead and took the boys out and about and did that. So I'll have some of those photos coming up in a little bit. I didn't take a ton of photos. I really just kind of enjoyed the experience. So I'm going through these rub-ons. I'm going through all my embellishments, trying to decide what bits and pieces I want to use. That's always the hard part when you start a new kit fresh. You're not 100% sure what all's in there. You kind of know, but you're not really sure. So I have a little cluster up here. The butterflies are from the Briar Wood from Rosie's studio. I pulled some older, I think it's called Metal Mashup Mix. That sounds right, but I could be wrong. It's a really, really older. I went deep into my punch bowl of sequins to pick those out. And so I'm just going to do a little bit up at the top to kind of pull the layout together. I'm going to grab a couple of these acetate pieces, and I'm going to use some puffy stickers for my title. And I'm going to keep the embellishment like kind of nice and neutral, or small, right? Can't talk. I so can't talk. I'm using that little piece of, well, I'm going to actually end up using both, all the leftover stamped flowers through my layout as embellishments to pull those stamps in. I love that contrast of the black and white flowers across the top. I think that turned out really nice. And I also think that once I got that gingham paper, and then once I put those butterflies down, especially the butterflies, because the background is almost the exact same color as the pink and the butterflies. So once I had those butterflies down, everything was kind of working together then. Like, it just kind of went. I knew I had the right color because I had matched it up so many times. But just adding some larger pieces of that color that are in the collection worked perfectly for this layout. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to add 3 butterflies. I love, love, love Rosie Studio butterflies. They make the most gorgeous butterflies ever. And I happen to be a huge lover of butterflies. So I was super excited to be able to play with those. I'm going to add a lot of these puffy stickers. I love these puffy stickers too. They're like a matte gold. They're not super shiny. This is just a really, really fun collection. So I was really, really happy to be able to get it. I'm going to use this Loved as my title today. And now I'm just going to add some puffy stickers. So this was kind of my reasoning behind the flowers being black and white and not like coloring them or anything like that. First of all, because I had such a hard time matching the colors in that background, that the idea of trying to match more colors with my alcohol markers or my Tombows just seemed like really hard to do. And then these puffy stickers that go in this collection and are part of the kit are black and white. So I needed to have a little more black and white in there to kind of pull it in. I think it appears in other parts of the collection as well. But I knew like for this one, I needed that little bit of black and white. So I'm going to use some of the puffy stickers. And this is going to be pretty much the end. I'm going to kind of just take a peek and see what I want to do. You can see there I added my stamped flower down at the end of the banner. I think that fit, it just fit in there so well. I'm going to add a couple of these really cute like matte gold puffy stickers. I used one of the burlap hearts that's part of the kit. So when you buy a kit from Redefined Creative and you get a kit from Christina, one of the ones that are in the shop, you always get like extra goodies that aren't like, it's not like a collection. It'll have like the main parts of a collection, but then it'll have like really a couple of different embellishments. And in this case, you got those wood veneer hearts and you got the burlap flowers and I think there was something else that wasn't part of Briarwood. That was something, a different line from Rosie Studio. So I'm almost finished here. I'm just adding some more of these little sequins. You know how much I adore a scattering of sequins. And these were like the perfect sequins because they were the same matte. They had the white, so that's good. We need a little more white going on, I thought. And then they had, this sequin mix had these teeny tiny little like antique matte gold sequins that were like that. They were flashy gold. And so I'm just going to sprinkle those around. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the very end. This is a lot longer than an average video from me, but I hope you've enjoyed it. And I will link to Shimelle's original blog post down below. And we really reimagined the sketch today, but I think it turned out really good. I hope you all have a fabulous Wednesday, or what's left of Wednesday. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow for Stamping with Scrapbookers. Bye. Stamping for Scrapbookers. Bye.